This is TWiP Pro Photo Critique number 88.
This is TWiP.
Hey folks, welcome back to another TWiP Pro Photo Critique. This is critique number 88. I'm here with my good friend and partner in crime, Mr. Troy Miller, to step through some of the latest submissions to the TWiP Pro community, or just the TWiP community, however you want to talk about it. But last week's topic was, what was last week's topic? It was storytelling. Troy, tell us about the topic for last week. Because you and Steven came up with it, right? So what was it?
It was storytelling. It was basically an image that didn't require a title or a paragraph or a description for us to kind of get the sense of the story, what was going on in there. So yeah. I think we've got some really strong images though. Yeah,
it's interesting. I think that's a great topic that you guys came up with, because it goes to the heart of photography in a lot of ways. It's like tell a story. Your challenge as a photographer is to tell a story in a single frame, right? And have it stand on its own, whether it be just a minuscule story about a bee getting pollen on its legs to go to the next flower, or something more photojournalistic and impactful than that. And that's what photography is about, recording the situation, right?
Yeah, and you know, we do it in this very small format in reality, right? Like our world, our view when we walk outside is huge, and then we capture it in this little box and print this little image or display a little thumbnail, whatever, and we have to convey emotion or story there. So yeah, that's sort of the essence of what we do, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you gotta capture emotion and reality and the danger or whatever, you know, adjective you want to use to describe a situation in a single two-dimensional frame, right? Which is hard. Like, you know, I'd argue videographers and people that have that set of tools to tell stories, you know, have a leg up in some ways, because you can go from scene to scene and you can control the sound and you can throw a soundtrack on there to evoke a certain mood and all that. But as a still photographer, you got one frame and you gotta tell the story in one frame. You don't get 30 frames a second or 24 or whatever. You get one, and you know, it's win or lose. So So with that, you want to dive in and see how well the community did trying to execute on that?
I do. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So let's dive in here. All right. I am now sharing TWiP Pro. Let's dive in. First shot here is from Matthew Feist. All right. Matthew, no caption on this one. Let's take a look.
It's great.
That shot says to me, yeah, it was my birthday, but I did not get the pony. So, you know, where's my damn pony or my LOL dolls? I didn't get them, you know?
Right. Or she's like waiting for brother to get in the car. Like, can we go? Can we go? Ready? Like, what the heck?
Yeah. Or that's a hangry face. Can we please get to McDonald's at some point? You know, it'd be great.
Yes. Yeah. Great storytelling with this one. I love the birthday princess crown. Without the crown, I mean, we could still tell a story, but the crown actually adds quite a bit more to the story.
For sure. Yeah. Photographically or compositionally, what do you think of the cropping and the color treatment?
You know, I love the black and white, and for the most part, I like the composition. I would definitely crop down from the top so that we don't need all that vertical space. We can see it's a car seat, so maybe crop down just a little bit above the tip of the crown, and then I think you're perfect. And that would put her eyes right on the thirds, the upper thirds.
Yeah, I agree.
Which would be nice.
Would you have cloned out those little stickers or things on the car seat there?
Yeah. I was gonna try not to be that nitpicky, but yeah, I would take those out. Those stickers need to go.
Yeah. And again, if you're playing within the realm of photojournalism, you can't legally take those out. But if it's street photography, or you know, the expectation of truth is in the image isn't there, then yeah, have at it. You know, batter those pixels and take those things out that are distracting elements.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And for a portrait, for a storytelling image, like, you don't need those. You only need the things in there that tell the story.
For sure. All right, cool. Let's move right along. Thank you very much. And who's this? Matthew Feist. All right.
Yes. Well done, Matthew.
Well done. Armando Brook is up next. And Armando says, last November 2nd was Zombie Walk in Sao Paulo and is a great event downtown. Like 5,000 people, great for photographer practice because the zombie wants to be photographed. I thought they wanted brains there, Armando.
Depends on the zombies. Yeah, it just depends.
Yeah, some just want to just, what are they doing? Like, oh, depends on the zombie. You are the best person to ask about this genre of film, right? You love this post-apocalyptic, depressing stuff.
I do, but I'm not a zombie fan, right? Like there's a difference between the dystopian society, post-apocalyptic world and zombies,
Yeah.
I'm not a huge zombie fan. I mean, the World War Z zombies are my favorite zombies if I had to pick zombies.
Oh, the one that act like a virus, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I dig those. So this is a great image by Armando. I'm as far as like the storytelling part of this, I see the costume, I see the people in the background, I see the sign. They're not really playing together. I would love it if, and I realize this is hard to do, but I wish the sign was pointing at the zombie.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that would be fun, right? Because then it would be pointing him out, and then we could crop off like half of the crowd on the left. We really don't. We don't need that.
Like to this guy right here, with the hat on, maybe right there.
Probably take out the yellow.
Here to here.
Yeah. Probably take that out. Yeah, right there.
Cut him out right there. Yeah. I like the shot, and I like the idea of the shot. I like the zombie stickers on the sign there. It's almost like Zombie Nation going on. And I think from a photojournalistic or street photography standpoint, this tells us, it tells us what's going on in a glance of the image. We know there's some sort of festival. Right. Obviously, this guy isn't a real zombie, so he's not purporting to be a real zombie. But it's a festival, and there's brightly colored people. You can see other people in the background with masks on, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, in terms of being a really impactful story, I think that arrow, like you said, if it was pointing at him, may have said, hey, this zombie here, that kind of thing, versus the arrow and him looking in opposite directions. I don't know. I struggle with this one, from just a strict photographic standpoint. I like it. This is a great shot. I love the color treatment. I love this oversaturated colors and all that. But from an overall storytelling treatment, when I first glance at this, am I getting, oh, this guy was making his way through the crowd and he finally found a spot to stand, or some sort of story element other than this is a snapshot of a point in time.
Right. And from a storytelling point of view and the way that we read the image, we have a lot of negative space on the left that we don't need, that he's staring into. We have a sign that's clipped on the right with an arrow pointing out of the frame. So we have some compositional elements that are really competing with each other. And this sort of speaks to when we're photographing something in a space like this, we have to think like, oh, here's this cool sign. Can I get something on the right side of the sign that it's pointing into? So, for example, and I don't know what was there, but let's say you crop this really tight on the left in camera, so the guy is in the frame, but we see what's going on the right side where the arrow is pointing. Yeah. So he becomes a secondary element. It's things like that help tell stories compositionally as well. I mean, it's a really fun image, some cropping and little Photoshop work, maybe flip that arrow around and it'd get way better. I like it. Yeah,
or even like from a story standpoint, to do something where it's more obvious that it's a story. Like, for example, I want to see this guy putting on his makeup. I know obviously that probably wasn't possible. Armando probably didn't even know this guy, but a shot with him putting on the makeup and just the emotion of putting it on and getting ready for this event that happens regularly,
right.
Or something to tell that story. What's the story? He's putting on the makeup versus what's the story? He's standing there in the crowd. So, something like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. All right, Armando. Thank you, sir.
Great job, Armando.
All right, next shot up is from Jim Peters. Let's see if I can get into this one. For the story theme. Bring that up. All right. I hear whenever I see a shot like this, I think Top Gun, slow motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is cool. I mean, this is this is much like the previous photo. It's telling the story in a frame. It is some guys on the beach, playing volleyball, beach volleyball, and enjoying themselves. But beyond that, I look deeper and I see a little bit of the story in here, other than just a great sport shot, in a decisive moment shot. I look in and I see on the right there's a guy standing there with a clipboard over here scoring. So
Right.
I don't know if this, and then there's scores down here, and then there's, these guys are judges. So if there was something that was tighter here that told me the story of these guys are competitive. As it is, I'm competing with all this blue sky here. I'm looking at this guy. I'm transfixed that he's getting air and getting ready to spike the ball or whatever. And then I look over to these guys and get that piece of the story versus instantly grokking. This is, these guys are competing against each other or trying to qualify in some way. What'd you get out of it, Troy?
No, I'm absolutely in agreement with you there. I mean, there's so many little things going on in this image that it's busy. And storytelling is really kind of what I'm critiquing in this image, and that is I don't really know what part of the story you want me to look at. If this was in a newspaper article and I didn't read the title or the paragraph, I wouldn't know what we're talking about.
Right.
It could be because the peak of action, like if he's going to be spiking the ball, I want to see the ball higher. I want to see his hand up at the proper moment. Is this about, the judges or the guys there? There's so many stories you could make up in this, but I don't really see one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the struggle, is like the big theme here is volleyball, but what's the story that you want me to take away from this image?
Mm-hmm. What's the emotion that I'm supposed to be feeling looking at this shot, if any?
Right. And you push the button, like you pushed it on purpose at that moment. What was it you were trying to say when you pushed the button?
Mm-hmm. I would guess he's trying to get that ball in motion and get a shot of this guy in the air. Right. So
right.
Or he's probably trying. I bet the shot that he wanted to get was the hand, the palm hitting the volleyball and spiking down to the guy with that set to hit it back.
Yep.
Or something like that. But yeah, and that would have required, even if he was doing that shot, it would have required cropping off all those judges and all that stuff on that side of the screen, right? And just focusing on the guy that's got air and about to spike versus us being drawn to the bright colors of the judges or referees over there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you just crop this image right down the middle and get rid of the 5 humans on the right-hand side, mm-hmm. you're automatically telling a much better story, because now it's about the dude on the left who's getting ready to block that if it comes at him, and then the guy that would be on the right with the volleyball, hopefully he's trying to spike it, right? Like that's mm-hmm. the story. It's those two. It's not everybody else in the frame.
Right. Cool. All right. Good shot. What a good topic.
Yeah, this is great. Good conversation, too. There's lots of good info here.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Jim Peters. All right. Who's up next? Thomas Aaron. Untitled.
Thomas. This is at Lazy Dog Cafe, I'm guessing.
Oh.
I recognize that menu.
Really? Wow. Because they know you there.
Isn't that weird? That's just weird. I know.
I think you may eat out too much, Troy Miller.
Yeah.
You can't be recognizing menu fonts.
No, it's terrible.
They
just opened one around the corner from my house too. So.
Oh, is that a chain, Lazy? Oh, yeah, I've seen that. That is one. Yeah, it's like a BJ's type place, right?
Yeah, they're good. They're really good. So.
And they allow dogs in there, right? Is that the
in the patio? Yeah,
okay.
But they're very dog friendly. Yeah, it's a very dog centric, which is appropriate for Thomas. So
yeah, he's the dog whisperer, right? So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, whisper about this photo. What do you think? What are your first impressions of this? Let's start from the objective of this critique was storytelling. Does it tell a story? And then what's your opinion from a photographic and compositional standpoint?
I think it does tell a story. I feel like I'm sitting across the table with a friend, and we're looking at our menus together, right? Like this is what I would see looking across. I love the shallow depth of field. I love the composition of the hand in the upper third. I feel we have too much menu, and I realize maybe, Thomas, you're trying to keep in the word lunch, but I think that we could lose that for the sake of dead space in the lower right. It's great. I love all those elements about it. It feels a little dark. I don't know if that's Mighty crushing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the upper right feels crushed a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
that may be the compression from Mighty Networks as well.
Yeah, and when I say crushed, usually that means that the blacks have just been pushed pure black where there's no detail. It's too dark.
Yep. Yep.
So
I don't know. I get now that you say this feels like, you're sitting across the table from someone else that you're about to have lunch with. Yeah, I get that now. My first inclination was I feel like it's upside down. I would like my head wants to flip it and feel like that's my hand. That's my hand. Albeit I don't wear black fingernail polish on my pinky, but still, like that's the viewer's hand looking at the menu, and this is kind of your eye view of the menu. From a storytelling, but when you put it in that frame of you're sitting across from another person, I can't unhear that. So now I'm looking at it. Oh yeah, it does tell a story. We're hanging out and we're about to have lunch. Or, we're on a photo adventure. We took a break for lunch, and yeah.
It's a great shot. Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Now I'm hungry. Now I want to go have kung pao shrimp.
Oh, do they have kung pao shrimp there?
Oh, they have a great menu. Yeah, you got to find one.
No, there's one. Where we had lunch the other day? There's one like a mile away from there.
Oh, do it. Go check it out.
All right, we'll do. All right, Thomas Aaron, dog photography. Look at that.
Dog master.
All right, and we gotta, Thomas, you gotta come on now. You gotta come on the show again and talk about your efforts in the dog photography world and all the stuff that you're building over there, and share that with the TWiP podcasting audience. Definitely. Thomas is building quite the canine empire of the canine training empire over there in community.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. All right, next one is Alicia. Alicia says, excuse me, this a true story, the dangers of forgetting to turn off the porch light after trick or treat on Halloween night. I'm not sure how Mighty will appreciate this 2,000 pixels on the long side, the PSD with 23 active layers. Nice. This version that had the typeface in the ballpark of 36. Wow. Jeez.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this image.
Yeah, tell me what you think. I'm curious as what you think, because I know right off the bat, I know your OCD is looking at the parallel vertical lines not being perfectly square.
Yeah, it's a curse, people. It's such a curse. I mean, if a door jamb in a hotel is crooked, it bugs me, right? Like,
and you'll stare at it all night.
Yes, and this is rotated slightly counterclockwise, so. That kind of bugs. I do think in an image like this that you could over rotate, like rotate for creative purpose and let it be skewed. So, but when you're just slightly off, that's where I have a challenge with it.
You mean like rotate it intentionally to add tension to the scene, right?
Yeah. I think so compositions are extremely challenging because our brains catch on to things that are wrong in other words, right? Like direction of light or shadowing texture to show dimensionality. And I feel like some of the hands feel ill-placed. But compositionally, I would crop it almost square, bring it down just below the top panel of the door, bring us in really tight on our subject. And then I love it even. I love it a lot more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I knew that was, I think, having done so many critiques with you, now that my OCD is looking at those lines now. You're bringing it out. Thank you, Troy Miller. But yeah, from a storytelling standpoint, yeah, there's loads of story here. Obviously it goes a long way. This didn't even necessarily need to be illustrative of Halloween night. It could be, someone facing their demons or whatever. Right. So I get the story there. The part that I struggle with, I think, is like you said in the beginning, there's a lot going on here. There's too much. I think you could have got the idea of what's going on here with fewer elements, like the overlay. It looks like a face above her or something coming through the door. Mm-hmm. I don't know that we need that. Because that's sort of distracting me because I'm staring at it and trying to my brain is trying to make a face out of it, and I don't know if that there's actually a face there or is it a face there. But it's taken me away from her, and the whole story of this is her fear and being afraid of these things coming up against her. And then the overlay textures on the hands and all that. I think, and then there's the sort of selective color treatment, bringing out the red or the crimson in her top. So there's a lot of things to think about in the story where I think, Alicia, you want us to be afraid with her and be shocked with her. I think it's more than enough to be shocked and afraid without so many elements. Then that hand to the right of her, or to her right in the door. Yeah, my brain looks at that and it's like, okay, is the door open? Because you need at least maybe a couple inches to get a hand through that gap there. So my brain is trying to figure out how's that hand getting through? There's a hand flat, is the hand flat slipping through the door jamb there, or is it, is the door askew, or what's going on? So I get caught up in that little thought eddy on that side of the image. So
right, and this is where compositions are so hard, because shadows give us dimension in space, and the hand that's coming through the door jamb on the model's left or camera right, it's flatly lit and it's actually in shadow. So it that kind of, even if we can't identify it, our brains are like, that doesn't look right. So what I think would be amazing for this image is to go like a film noir with a little bit of red in it, and bring the overall tone way, way, way down. Get rid of the hands, crop it in a little bit tighter, go super, super dark all the way around the model, because the posing is great, the lighting is great, the texture, the door, the concrete, it's all great. I don't think we need those other elements, Yeah. So do like an old horror movie style edit, bring it, maybe black and white, or just maybe a little bit of color in there, just in the red, and bring the tones way down. Yeah. So her face just kind of comes out of the darkness.
Yep. But cool concept though. Very cool.
Yeah, really good.
This is the first year we did not run out of Halloween candy. It's always a tap dance. Do you buy too much and then be stuck with it, or do you buy not enough and turn your porch light off? So I was like, let's buy enough, and now we have candy until June. All right, next shot is from Ernest Hallett. Okay, Ernest says, story in a story, The Long Look. Vancouver Island marmot, critically endangered, number 7 on the list in 2009, population decreasing. There are only 200 in the world in 2019. Size of a beaver, but is the largest in the squirrel family and really hard to find. Really shouldn't show the tag, but here it is. Important to see the number to the story. Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah, he's saying he shouldn't show the tag
on the ear.
Oh yeah, but it's important to the story. Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's bring this one up.
I've never seen this creature before. This is a new creature for me.
Right? Yeah, it's like it's a beaver squirrel.
Marmot. Yeah.
Yeah, marmot. Yeah, it's a beaver squirrel. Look at that.
That's crazy cool. It's without the description in the title, it would be hard for me to know what this is. Yeah,
especially if you didn't know what a marmot was, right? Yeah.
Right. I would think this is just some chubby squirrel.
Like, what the hell's wrong with that guy?
And he's a weird color, but hey.
He needs to move to a pescatarian diet. Yeah.
This is true. Yeah. That dude needs to climb some trees. I do love the story about it, though. I mean, and getting to know that. I do wish we didn't have as much negative space to the right, and I wish we had the whole body to the left. I think compositionally that would help the image quite a bit. There's a lot of negative space around this image that we don't need.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, in terms of compositionally, yeah, I knew you were going to say that about chopping off body parts. Don't chop off body parts,
even on squirrels.
Yeah, even on these crazy creatures, the marmots. Also compositionally, how our eye goes to the brightest part in the scene. My eye goes to that thing at the bottom there. What is that? Like a piece of wood or something? You see that? Or part of the rock?
Right.
Yeah. So that maybe either burn that down a little bit or take it out completely would have had less distraction. Maybe burn down that branch or whatever that is on the right side of the screen as well over here. Burn that down a little bit. But yeah, you're right. Even leaving this in, Troy, I don't know if I'm not familiar with the plight of the marmot and their decreasing numbers. I would know. I would think that this is, at first glance, you look at this and you think of that meme. was that meme gerbil or squirrel that's running around, and they have the dramatic music and it looks back towards the camera. It kind of looks like that. I'll try to edit that in right here so
There
that
you
you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, that is what this reminds me of, is that guy. But compositionally, I think you're right. Could have pulled out a little bit, and also took out some of the more or subdued some of the more distracting elements in here. Mm-hmm. Storytelling wise, we need more story or something else in here to tell us what's going on.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Ernest. Moving right along, Peter Levshin is up next. Peter says, Sony A7R3 24mm Bali, local kids playing and having fun. Let's bring that up. All right, this tells a story for sure. So, the two criterion, how well does this fit into the subject matter or the topic for this critique, which was story. Right. I get loads of story here. Compositionally, I know you have some comments. I have a couple comments, but nothing egregious. What do you think?
This makes me so nervous. I'm just
all those people on the bike?
Well, there's a guy standing in the road in the back. Like, let's imagine that I didn't know this was in Bali, right? Okay. Yeah. So if you just saw this photo, there's monster stickers on the bike. So this could be anywhere, right? This could be in Corona somewhere, someplace. But the fact that there's, 4 people and a puppy on the bike. There's a kid running in the road. Like, it looks like he's making a right turn. He's going to run in front of the bike. So that's stressing me out. The bald tire on the bike stressing me out.
The bald tire.
The guy in the back, like, who knows what he's doing? So there's just, this whole thing just
the guy in the back just got off of the bike. He was the other passenger. So they just dropped him off.
This is this would be a great ad for, like, you need helmets, man. You need the
Yeah. Clearly. Well, tell me, have you been to Southeast Asia? Like Vietnam or Bali or anything? Yeah, well, this is the norm. From when I first got there, when I first got to Vietnam, I was feeling the same way you do about people. Like, people were hauling around like giant construction related gear and things on scooters that shouldn't be on scooters. I saw a shot like this, like a family of 6 on a little Vespa type scooter, just going down the road like they do it, like they've done maybe 5,000 times before.
The dude driving, like, his hair is all slicked back.
He's
like,
cool.
Yeah.
He's
just out for a ride.
That's cool. What struck me about this photo though is the joy in this photo. Because clearly, if you look at it, you could make the assumption that these people aren't people of a whole lot of means, right? They're riding a bike. It's an older bike with a, like you said, a bald tire, and this isn't a BMW bike, and they're in an area that doesn't look like there's a Starbucks around the corner there for them to go hang out at. So, but yet without all those trappings, everyone's still happy in the shot.
Yeah, and I think you can tell even what looks like maybe the girls in the back. You can tell by their eyes, right? Like, there is a smile in there, and I think that's really amazing.
Yep. And people with much more probably don't smile as much as these people are smiling.
Right. Right.
So cool. Thank you, Peter, for sharing this.
Great image, Peter.
Yep. Oh, wait. Let me go back. I have one more thing to say about that shot before compositionally. The vignette down here, I think, was a little bit too heavy down here in this corner because I can see it. I don't know. Is that the vignette at the bottom? Does that bother you at all, or is it fine?
Yeah, a little bit. It feels a little heavy.
Just a little. I understand he's trying to draw attention into the middle of the photograph there, but it just, maybe I don't know what you could have done differently, because any level of vignette down there in that light area, maybe if it was a gradient on the whole like left side of the frame, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I noticed it. Like, I noticed the gradient on the bottom left and the bottom right. And like we say, you don't want to notice the retouch, or you don't want to be your eye to be drawn to the areas that the photographer messed with. So
exactly.
So, all right. Moving right along. Next shot is from Lamb. Lamb says, theme storytelling, title, Here I Come. Right. Look at that. That's a wide angle lens.
Yeah. This is one of those kind of shots where, there's so much stuff going on in the image that I got to kind of figure out where I want to see. And I think that for me, I'd rather crop the kid out on the left. Mm-hmm. I don't know what you think. I mean, I realize like he's running in there, but he's not near the ball. Mm-hmm. So I feel the story is around the two kids that are going after the ball.
Yeah, 100%.
Themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I think the kid on the left, I'm wondering what he's doing. Like these two are clearly they're sparring over that ball, right. And one's trying to keep it out, one's trying to get it in. So what's this guy doing inside of the net? Or clearly in an area he shouldn't be in. So
right.
Yeah,
right.
I agree.
And then in the back on the right, you got those, like, it looks like the two kids, or it looks like there's actually more people like looking through the windows and peeking out, watching. Mm-hmm. That's all on the right hand side of the frame. I really dig that.
Yeah. So would you crop it like say right here?
Yeah.
Let's crop it right there. Yep.
Yeah,
I agree. And then the story becomes about these two guys right here, and the spectators back there peeking in, and the ball, obviously. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. It tells a story though, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah,
well
the
done.
struggle to get it in. Is it going to go? Now I want to know. Was the goal made or not? Come on.
Did he make a score? Yeah.
Yeah. Who won? Cool. All right, Lamb. Thank you so much, man. All right. Next shot up is from Michael Duray. All right. Michael says, the story of America. I narrowed it down to 8 photos and ended up using a phone shot. Cool. I'm sure I've chosen poorly. No, never. That's like, a chef coming out to your table and like, yeah, I made you this meal, but I'm sure you're going to hate it, but
I'm really
try it anyway.
Sorry that I had to bring this to you,
Yeah, really sorry that, I know I'm not that good of a cook, but here it is anyway.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't suck.
I did my best, okay? Eat it.
Sorry, Mike. We're only making a little bit of fun of you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mostly because we love the shot. I mean,
I love this. This is one of my favorite shots. One of my favorite shots. So yeah, the short of it is, don't apologize for your work, right?
Right. Because in this case, I think this is a really amazing image. I like the grain. I like the crop. I like the compression. I wish there was a little more space in front of the car on the left edge, but I'm okay with that.
There's a little bit of tension here, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's a little too tight, but that's minor. There's faces in the car. You can see it looks like there's a passenger that's actually looking at the gentleman with the shopping cart. And I really like how there is really no faces in this, right? Like there's just this guy with his cart, and there's this really nice Audi there, and it's powerful. It's such a powerful image.
Yeah, it is really, I think for Californians especially, maybe much of the nation, but especially for Californians, because there's such a high homeless population here. We're all too familiar with this kind of scene. And when I, like you were saying, I'm looking at the people in the car, I see the passenger. I can't really tell if she's looking, but I want to think that she's looking at this guy. And the driver is trying not to make eye contact, and looking straight forward. So I see that, and then my brain starts going to, is this guy, presumably the homeless guy, is he thinking, yep, about a year ago I had a car just like that?
Yeah, yeah, there could be a lot of stories.
Yep, about a year ago I had that car. Hey, wait a minute, that is my car. I had that car about a year ago, and circumstances led me to where I am. So, choose wisely, Audi driver,
Yeah.
Yeah, and the guy in the car may be thinking, you can make up all kinds of stories. You may be thinking that's my worst fear right there, is to end up on the street. And the guy on the street may be thinking, you know what? It ain't so bad. Actually, I don't have that car payment you have. That's for sure.
Right. I don't have that. Yeah. So not only does this tell a story that we can just sort of pour ourselves into, but I think that there's a lot of emotional impact in here as well. So that to me, that sort of adds to the element of it. I'm wondering, I'm assuming this was cropped. So I'm wondering what else is in the frame, like to the front of the car. Is there another car there? Are these guys stopped? Are they rolling by?
Yeah.
not that it has to be there, but I'm just suggesting, when you're making an image like this, you're going to tell that story. If there's nobody in front of him and he's just rolling by, that tells me a different sense, like he's just driving by, right? But if he's in traffic, if he's not moving, then you could feel more uncomfortable for him, or maybe think he's more uncomfortable. But great image. No need to apologize for the cell phone.
Yep. And obviously the clear pandering towards Troy Miller with the border and it's black and white. So very cool. But I like this too. I think that's probably the color treatment for sure. Probably a good call, because if they're distracting elements, like if that Jeep back there was yellow or green or something, we'd be distracted and looking back there. But it's not. And none of that stuff matters, right? The only thing we care about is the Audi and the homeless person trying to cross the street.
Yep. Great image.
Yep. Very good. Okay, next shot up is from Joshua Sommerfeld. Last but not least, Joshua Sommerfeld. Joshua says, write your own caption. He shot this with his Canon EOS 77D with a Sigma 70-50 at 2.8. Let's take a look. All right. I'm going to let you go for this one. So the two criterion, story and photographic expertise, execution. What do you think?
Yeah, I really like it. I like it a lot. I would probably cut off the bottom right through the word strong. I'd probably take that out and bring it up a little bit. But this fits every element for me. I mean, I can see the Ferris wheel in the background, so I'm assuming that he's at a fair of some kind, right? And he's very intent on getting that piece of cotton candy in his mouth. Like, I'm going to eat this before my brother does. I'm not sharing anymore.
Exactly.
He's got that band on his wrist, It's
Yeah, that's
great.
the look. I've seen that look before. That's the look of a sugar high. I've seen we see that all the time. That's pre-sugar crash right there.
Yeah, I got that furrowed brow. There's some intense focus going on right there.
Yeah. Very cool. And I like the black and white. We haven't seen a whole lot of photojournalism from Joshua. So this is a departure from his normal submission. So it's very cool, man.
Yeah, it's a nice touch. Yeah, it's very nice. I like it.
Very cool. All right. Now comes the hard part. What is your favorite out of all these submissions, Troy Miller? What do you think?
I have to go with Michael's.
Michael DeRay?
Michael DeRay. And to be fair, like, I really love Peter's. I really love that. I love Alicia's. I think there's great storytelling in there. Thomas's is great. I mean, I'm scrolling through Matthew's, Armando's, like, they're all so good. But for me, Michael's not only is storytelling, but it's emotional, and it speaks to, current issues as well.
For sure.
So,
Yep, definitely tells a story. And the criterion was the photo needs to be able to tell its story on its own, right?
Right.
So without a caption or anything like that. So yeah.
Yeah. Well done.
Mission accomplished. What a good critique topic this week, huh?
Yeah, it was good. I was nervous last week. I wasn't sure. We weren't sure if it was going to be too extravagant or complicated, but everybody rose to the challenge. So
yes,
I dig
they
it.
did.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. All right. On that, speaking of rising to the challenge, what's the challenge of next week? So I wrote down 3 topics that we could possibly choose from next week, and I'll let you pick the one that we're going to go with. How's that? Is that fair? Is that egalitarian? No. So I wrote down for Critique 89, the topic could be negative, wet, or strength. What do you think? Negative, wet, or strength? Which one should we go with?
I think we should go with negative.
All right. Negative.
Go with negative. Yeah, because negative could be so many things. It could be a political statement. It could be a literal negative space. It could be all kinds of things. So
yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could just. Yeah, it could be what like it could. It's so wide. It could be subjective, right? Coffee. Here's a shot of coffee. Oh, why is coffee negative? Because I hate coffee. That's why.
It's going to be hard to critique is what it's going to be. We're going to have to separate the story from the images, right? Which is good, which is exactly what we need to do. So I like it. I like it.
Negative. This should be interesting. Yeah, this should be interesting. All right. So negative it is. You heard it, folks. However you choose to interpret the word negative, that is the topic of next week's Critique 89. Before we break this one off, Troy Miller, anything you want to let the folks know about?
Oh, geez, my head is swimming. I have so many things going on. No, just, you know what? Go check out TWiP Pro. We're there. Lots of fun stuff going on.
Yep, absolutely. And I know you're holding your tongue, but, TWiP Pro is undergoing a radical change. Let's just say change. So, yeah, I've been threatening to tell the story, speaking of storytelling, tell the story of the change that's coming up for TWiP very shortly, and that will happen when I'm ready, but I'm not ready yet.
Yeah. It's not a butterfly yet. It's still in the chrysalis.
It is.
Right?
It is. It's wiggling. There's a chrysalis in there. It's wiggling and it's trying to get out, but it's not quite ready yet.
It's very exciting. I'm looking forward to it. So.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Yeah, I'm excited to get whatever we're working on to get it done. You'll see. It is causing. It's fun because I like doing this stuff, obviously, because I've been doing it for a decade or so. But it's also, the whole, you're like me, Troy. You're like the lifelong learner. Like, hey, I found a new tool to do this, and I can do this thing better. That's kind of what's happening to TWiP. It's just sort of evolving to its next stage of life. So
it is very, very cool. Very cool stuff coming.
Very cool. All right, folks. So you heard it here first. This week was storytelling. Next week is negative. Troy Miller, I'll see you next time.
You got it, bud. See ya.
All right, man. Take care. Have a good week.
This is TWiP.